Hello and welcome to another show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Mad Sherman, and you are watching One Man's Worldview. Now, today I'd like to cover the Ukraine and the Russia situation and how the United States government is not minding their own business. I mean, they never think about how its own people feel about war. They just go off and just go do it. No debates in Congress or anything. And see, the last time I checked, Congress is supposed to impose war, not the executive branch. But definitely I could tell you, in this country, people do not want any more war. They just don't want it. We do not want conflict on the other side of the planet. And see, the United States government, they're not worried about health care. They're not worried about raising the minimum wages up to a living wage. I mean, they're not worried about climate change. They're not worried about our crumbling infrastructure. The only thing that they worried about is police state violence, endless war, capitalism, imperialism. These are the things, the interests that the United States government has. As far as helping its citizens out and trying to eliminate poverty in this country, they're not concerned about that. All they want to do is start more war. And we all know that the military is the biggest contributor to climate change. They're the biggest polluters on the planet. And here Joe Biden trying to tell us that, oh, my infrastructure bill is a hallmark for climate change and all this other stuff. You a lie, Joe Biden. You keep starting these wars, it's just gonna make climate change worse. Again, the United States military is the biggest contributor to climate change. And see, the United States ain't worried about helping the citizens out. This is all they care about, war. Now, I'm going to go into the situation here about the Ukraine and Russia situation and the United States poking its nose in it. And we're going to start off with an article. I got this article from CNN, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see and read along with me. All right, I got this article up. Like I say, you can read along with me. And it is from CNN. It's titled, Ukraine's President Zelensky urges the world leaders to tone down the rhetoric on the threat war with Russia. Now, this is by Matthew Chance, Vasco, Cotovio, and Joshua Berlinger. And I will leave the link at the bottom of the page in the description box. That way you can read the article for yourself. But anyways, let's read this article here. Ukrainian President Volodymyr, I think I'm saying that right, Volodymyr Zelensky said Friday other world leaders have been overstating the likelihood of war between his country and Russia, causing panic and destabilizing Kyiv's economy. I think I'm saying that right, Kyiv's economy. Speaking to foreign reporters Friday, Zelensky said and explained in a phone call to the world leaders like the U.S. President Joe Biden and France's Emmanuel Macron that though the threat from the Kremlin is imminent and consistent, Ukrainians have learned to live with it since Moscow invaded in 2014. In other words, they're cool, they're chilling. Russia hasn't crossed over into their borders and showed any signs of any type of threat. Let's read on. They are saying tomorrow is the war. This means panic, Zelensky said. Russia has amassed tens of thousands of troops on its border with Ukraine, prompting fears that Russian President Vladimir Putin is planning an incursion. Russia has repeatedly denied its plans to invade the Western neighbors. So Russia said that's not what they're doing. They're not trying to invade Ukraine. What Russia is trying to do is protect its sovereignty and its border and its country and its interests. And the reason why they're doing that is because the NATO keep expanding after promising Vladimir Putin that they wouldn't do it. Let's read on. The exact severity of the threat posed by Russia remains unclear and had reportedly have been point of contention between Zelensky and Biden. It reads on, their conversation Thursday purportedly did not go well. A senior Ukrainian official told CNN. On the call, which the Ukrainian official described as long and frank, Biden was said to have warned that a Russian invasion was now virtually certain and imminent, while Zelensky restated that his position that the threat from Russia remains dangerous but ambiguous. In other words, they're not doing anything. I think it is Russia's business to put their troops in their country anywhere they want to. See, the United States is just making all this stuff up just so they can start a war or prop up the industrial military complex so they can give them more money. They just gave them $80 billion damn near. The White House disputed that the account had said that anonymous sources were leaking falsehoods, and spokeswoman said Biden warned Zelensky that an invasion in February was what she called a distinct possibility. It goes on to say, when asked about his conversation with Biden, Zelensky thanked the U.S. president for his support, but said Russian troop buildup was not much more significant than what we have had seen in the past. So this is nothing different. This is just a distraction. Joe Biden's numbers are in the tank. They low. And this is the reason why he's trying to start a war. Because, you know, historically speaking, presidents who start conflicts with other countries, their ratings usually go up historically. Now, it goes on to say, I'm not being critical of Biden, Zelensky added. All sides appear to be withholding out on the diplomatic solution despite of the disagreement. Zelensky said he was willing to meet with Putin for a serious conversation and suggested that Biden set up a platform for dialogue between Washington and Kyiv and Moscow. So, you know, Zelensky wants to sit down and just talk to Vladimir Putin. He wants to sit down and talk to Joe Biden. And they want to come together on a non-conflicting, non-violent war, not violent war, just a non-violent a non-violent solution to this whole situation. I got lost on my words there. But see, what he was also saying, that people do not understand the value of human life, and that's what it's all about. I do not support serious dialogue. So I'm gonna read that again. People don't understand the value of human life, and that's what it's all about. I do support serious dialogue. That's what Zelensky said. See, this guy used to be a comedian. He used to be on a sitcom playing president of Ukraine and getting mad at war criminals. Isn't that ironic? Now he's in a real situation. The ball right now appears to be that the criminal court in the U.S. and the NATO submitted separate written responses to Russia publicly and aired concern on Wednesday and the overture that Moscow had requested. While the U.S. did not disclose what is in the document, which does not make any sense, because that is one thing that the United States does. It is not transparent when it comes to war at all. If they give you a number of casualties that have died in the war, 9 times it's underreported. Blinken also said that there is, and we're talking about Anthony Blinken. Blinken also said that there will be no change to NATO's open door policy, leaving the U.S. and at odds with Russia, demanding that NATO commit to never admitting Ukraine to the alliance. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the document failed to address the Russian primary concerns. He said there was hope for a serious conversation, but on the secondary topics, the main issue is our clear position on the inadmissible of further expansion of NATO to the east and a deployment of strike weapons that could threaten the territorial Russian Federation, Lavrov said. Now, like I said before, Russia is just trying to protect itself. The United States are bullies. We'll go in and destroy a country in a hot minute. Look what happened in Libya. It was one of the most developing countries in Africa. And I would say the most developing countries in Africa. Now it's a failed state with slave trading going on. And why? Because of the United States. Now, does it sound like the United States care about anybody? No. Again, the only thing that they care about is capitalism, imperialism, and white supremacy. That's it. Now, I'm going to get out of this article here. Yeah, that is all the United States care about. Do y'all know how many brown babies, women, and children died in the hands of these wars since 2001? I guarantee you would never know the correct number. The United States would never tell you the truth about that. The United States government has been complicit with war crimes throughout the whole entire history of this country. I mean, they started the police by catching runaway slaves. That's how the police got started. And it still remains today, just more in a modern way. Lock up a lot of black men so you can get a lot of free labor, right? Same thing happening back then. It's just more modern, more sophisticated. Same old trope. But I want to share this video. This video is going to give you a clear picture of what's going on and letting you know what is Russia fussing all about. Why is the Americans or an American government that's causing all these issues? Because like it says in the article, Zelensky ain't asking for this, and the United States is just poking its nose where it shouldn't even go. So I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna play this video. All right, we're gonna watch this video and then we're gonna break it down afterwards. So let's continue on.
Our attention now to CNN and their questionable reporting on the situation in Ukraine that Alex mentioned. In his report, we have Executive Director of World Beyond War, David Swanson.
Let's see if we can make it louder.
Great to see you again, my friend. David, what do you make of this report by CNN and their use of these unknown sources? You didn't have this many unknown sources even back during the Cold War.
Well, CNN wants war, loves war. The U.S. media is the biggest supporter of increasing tensions in this whole thing, bigger than NATO, bigger than the weapons dealer.
Yeah, corporate media is something else. Remember WMD's weapons of mass destruction that they never found? The New York Times and corporate media just kept pushing that crap. And it was all a lie. All of these conflicts that we're having, we are the offenders. And I'm not going to even say we. I'm going to say the American government, because the American people do not want this. The American government is the offenders. They not defending anything. I can't even remember the last time that we actually truly defended something. Let's continue the video.
The United States or Russia or Ukraine. But I think CNN is just exaggerating an actual core truth, which is that the U.S. government and the U.S. president are talking up the imminent Russian invasion in a way that the president of Ukraine is now pushing back on. And it's not just the talk, it's the withdrawal of officials, of diplomats out of Ukraine, all of this push for urgency, for war. I mean, this is the first time when the president of Ukraine has even slightly resembled the guy he played in the sitcom where he was a pretend president of Ukraine, a servant of the people who got mad at the liars and the warmongers. I mean, I think this is to be encouraged by him, and I think CNN is rightfully reprimanded for for exaggerating the urgency of war when their damsel in distress is saying no thanks, but no thanks. Get out of my house.
And it's so interesting too, David, because CNN, they removed the segment on their Twitter account. But they didn't go on air and make an official retraction. I went to journalism school. I get it. It would literally be saying, we messed up. But why hasn't the White House called this fake news? Why hasn't anyone used that term since the Trump presidency?
Good question.
Well, I guess so. The prime reason you just stated, if it was something Trump said, Biden doesn't want to say it. In addition, Biden doesn't like to confront anyone other than foreign governments with nuclear weapons. And by the way, the problem is not confronting Russia when what we really, really need is a war with China. What we need is an end to this war madness. You want some money for the president of Ukraine for human and environmental needs and suitable, actual, useful things. Take all those weapons piles he's sitting on and send them back to Lockheed and Boeing. Fish some F-35s out of some oceans and send them back to Lockheed. Get your money back. There's plenty of money to go around.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's one of those things, too, when a famous comedian once said we should have all of our congressmen and senators all have those race jackets on to show Lockheed Martin and everybody who's sponsoring him. But, David, really quick, Executive Director of World Beyond War. Do the American people want a war?
Nope.
They do not. The polls show they do not. And it's not because they'd rather have one with China. It's because they're sick of all this war madness. And
that's
why
right.
Nancy Pelosi thinks there's $500 million lying around whenever there's a chance to stir up more war, but not when people need it for something useful.
Nancy Pelosi is a war criminal.
Should do what you just said, like Politico emails, which have Lockheed Martin sponsoring them. Things ought to be late. When the New York Times reporter is paid by a think tank that's paid by Northrop Grumman, he ought to wear Northrop Grumman to the press conference at the White House.
Absolutely. David Swanson, great to see you again. This ain't over, so we'll see you soon.
All right. I will leave the description of the video at the bottom of the page, okay? So, as you can see, the United States is trying to start another war. And it doesn't make any sense, people. We don't have health care in this country, and we ran out of bombs during the Barack Obama administration, dropping them on Syria and Afghanistan. We ran out of bombs. You know how much one of them bombs probably cost? I would say anywhere from $1 million to $10 million a piece. It only took probably about $25-30 million to fix the pipes in Flint, Michigan, with all those lead pipes and all those people getting sick and getting cancer. But now we always choose to go to war. The U.S. government, that is. They don't choose to give us health care. They don't choose to raise the minimum wage up to a living wage. They don't choose to do anything about climate change. They don't choose to fix our infrastructure up. I mean, our infrastructure gets a grade of C- or D. It's one of the worst in the world. Our healthcare system, the healthcare rating in this country, is one of the worst in the world. We rank number 35 or 36 on the list. But yet, this is the richest country in history. But we can't give our citizens health care. And this is why. All they want to do is keep with the war machine. Like I said before in my last videos, stop electing these fools. And with that said, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping a video. And good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Peace. I am out of here.